Hello, and welcome to another episode of Mr. R's Let's Play. This is Northstar. I hope you folks are well. You've been taking care of each other and being kind to yourselves. So, I'm going to kind of jump right into the gameplay here. I don't have anything particular to talk about. It's partly because I did a Northstar Talks Politics video today, get all my political thoughts out. Watch that series if you want. It's organized, I suppose, by date published, but it's not very sequential like the game series, so watch them in whatever order. Also check out my other games like Mount and Blade Warband, Sid Meier's Alpha Centauri, Rise of Nations campaign thing I did a while ago, and I don't remember if the saves on this computer. May have to start a new one, but yeah, various different things. Pop-up dungeon, which just continuously should be adding stuff even now when this goes live, probably. I'll be playing a lot of that game. Let's get y'all some music. I don't hear anything. I think Dark Minds is one of the ones that's quieter, though. Here we go. I have an amplified for you guys, so you probably heard it before I did because I have quite a few decibels added to game volume, but I couldn't hear it. Anyways, so I was too passive last video, or too distracted, and as a result of that, the recovery efforts completed, which is the cultists. I've got too little time till this triggers, till I run out of time, and I absolutely should have been aware. I know from experience, sometimes you can get cultist ships appearing ridiculously far away from borders. It tends to, I mean, it won't do fully surveyed systems usually, although I did see it happen before. It tends to be sort of near surveyed systems, so something around here. And indeed, I checked just to see if I completely screwed myself. This is where the cultist shipyard would be. I know some of you may hate that. What I should have done, without having to look ahead or anything, so, like, because I have a kind of absence of mind, I'm a little more forgiving and sometimes willing to go back to saves or look ahead with my long COVID because I forget shit that I know I need to do. And one of those is I need to send my fleets up this way well before I collect the toast. So that when, if the cultist shipyard spawns way out here, I can beat the hive mind, the custodians, to it. I also need to send a fleet this way, so these guys don't beat me if the follow-up event to that spawns another group of cultist ships out this way. Although I think, I mean, it doesn't automatically. I'm pretty sure when I do the cultist shipyard, I need an army. An assault army. Give me 1 second. Nope. Thinking of the final event in the chain. After you find and destroy the cultist flagship that was, I think, referenced already. They have, it's the third time you fight a cultist battleship. I fought one already. I fought another at the shipyard. I know that. And I've seen this event chain like 2 or 3 times before. It's had a 1 in 5 chance with Spiritualist Empires, but I seem to roll every time I go Spiritualist. Or almost. I think there was 1 time. So yeah, I've seen this a bunch, and I still don't remember the whole chain perfectly because long COVID memory shot. I know what I remember, know what I don't remember, so I had to review the wiki. I mean, I guess gameplay has never been nearly as important to my life as other things have happened, so until now, where I'm trying to survive off my YouTube channel. Send up a fleet this way, anyways. Send another one to Sujimia, I guess. The way this will work is after, if I manage to destroy the cultist shipyard and non-different empire, which ends the chain, I think, or definitely screws me over anyways. Because I don't get a specimen from destroying the shipyard. There'll be a toast. Gives me some scaled research. And then a 5-month mean time to happen after that. So it takes an average 5 months, but it could take 7, could take 3, whatever. Could take 10. Just, it's basically a 20% chance a month or something like that, fire time, until I get the provocation for the final cultist fleet. It's like 3 systems, I remember, so I have to explore them all, and I'll find their fleet in one of them. So what I should have done, is sent some part of the fleet up here, and I guess a little bit here close to when I was getting ready to trigger this, because it's far less likely that these guys would try and race me, since it wouldn't be in their territory most likely, to the cultist shipyard than the Kelsodians, which the game loves to spawn in hostile territory. I mean, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong about that. Maybe it could have spawned their territory too, my vassals. I just don't think it could. I think it counts as, like, it won't spawn in other Federation members in your Federation or vassals territory, I think. I'd have to look under the code or somebody else, because I don't even know how to do that. Anyways. So Bubbles will not possibly get there soon enough. So upgrade fleet 2. I'll have to start expanding it soon, and then send it up to Northeast. I'll want to keep expanding my reserve fleet for a little longer than that. I don't like that song. I do not like it one bit. Most of the time. Structures. What? Politics. Ships. Interesting. So you can do different tabs. I'm trying to think of the exact time I go to Northeast. I know I can wait it along. I know I would have done it if I hadn't had a new Higma and not anything over here. So I may have given myself an unfair advantage, but there's a very good chance I won't get the shipyard at all. Screw myself, so. Hopefully the Chalcedian fleet is here in their capital system, or the bulk of it. And so if I manage to get past it, even though they may mobilize their fleet before I get there, I'll be ahead of the fleet and win. Let's see. None of these. There's nothing that increases ship speed, is there? Can't get that damn smell out of my roommate in the bathroom. I had to wait for a second to go brush my teeth. Do that often after eating stuff with meat in it before, because I have a water balance kind of closed. I don't want bits of meat sometimes washing back into it, and that's a recipe to get very sick. So, I mean, if I'm eating vegetarian meals, I don't always do that, but I have a reusable water bottle, and I don't wash quite as often as I probably should. So, yeah, none of this is going to make my fleet faster. Nope. I'm sorry. Long COVID, I'm also always tired. So I need to send main battle fleet. And upgrade fleet 1. And this would be the core of a smaller fleet, which will take longer to, well, another fleet actually. If I'm not finding the shipyard, I don't think I actually need a larger fleet, but a slightly smaller fleet that will go to the northeast with Bubbles, because solar. In case the final event spawns northeast. And also because Bubbles can't possibly keep up, and there's only 3 ships on Great Fleet 2. So, 40 ships should be more enough to minimize losses. And it also means my 2 best admirals. Cautious, level 3. I might say that, but actually, a trickster is probably better. Let's swap the admirals. Admiral Gashi. Because the extra disengagement chance means I'll probably lose fewer ships. Chimera. Admiral Chimera's in charge of the first reserve fleet. Anyways, these two go up. Let's see. Oh yeah, that's about when the thing will I'll run out of time. So I can get to probably Tirolem, so unless their fleet is based further north than Tirolem, I can probably still be the first Higma. Let's do this, even though the way I would have done it, I was being smart and more attention to detail, is earlier I would have sent the fleet up somewhere here like Haggers, and then not knowing exactly where the shipyard might spawn, then trigger it. And if instead trigger in this direction, I'd also have a fleet like maybe in Ruthari, ready to race these guys. It's because stupid event has annoying tendency to spawn way ways. I wish it would actually potentially spawn inside your borders of your empire and just be closer, make it less annoying and less likely that you'd lose out on the benefits of destroying the radical coal. Especially doesn't make sense for it to spawn in another empire's territory. They wouldn't tolerate that. It'd be even harder for them to hide than in your own, where they may have sympathizers around. 1 second. Sorry about that. I moved along Microsoft Clipchamp to terrible editing program, by the way. I really need to get a better one. To start cutting video. When I can do, I have to do it basically 2 exports at a time to start exporting the second half of, well, what will end up being the video prior to this, and so the previous episode of this, and then I had to lie down for a bit because I was tired. There was also some noise that was making me tired faster, because sometimes I get noise sensitivity. Certain types of regular noises, not every noise gets me, but like a lot of times when people are doing dishes or cooking or playing certain types of like more rappy music and stuff, it gives me a headache. It's weird. I don't understand. It's like the noise sensitivity isn't always to all noises. Sometimes it gets really bad to any noise at all. And I have to like earplugs. But it sucks. And I never had to deal with this before while on COVID. I guess now I know how the people who are like autistic feel. They apparently very noise sensitive. And combine my very sensitive hearing with the long COVID fucking with my brain. Wow, that sucks. I've always had very sensitive hearing. I did have some thoughts about stuff though. I don't have the pops worth the heavy industry right away, but a monument provides some passive value. And since I'm not gonna really try for massively increasing pop growth in Bits and Prime for a while, just throw in a monument. And yeah, I'm gonna probably go really heavy on heavy industry, maybe 2 heavy industry specializations is double up, and a chemical plant, just alloy forges up the wazoo. I did consider, by the way, I should mention at Hesek, instead of really focusing on doing civilian light industry here, I might actually want to focus on doing lots of research. Not because I already have a xenobiology lab and get the most value out of that, but excuse me. And it's more efficient to actually double specialize in 2 related things. Like you could do society research, engineering research, and you end up then having maybe a xenobiology lab and 2 research labs that provide every type of job, and then the engineers from that get buffed. It's basically double specializations that are the same thing, or the most efficient way to do things, but you have to have enough planets that you have that much specialization available, and I'll only be retaining 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe 7 worlds at most in my core, and the rest will be Prospectoria, Scleria. So, I don't know. Probably 7 worlds. So I can't double specialize as much as I would like to. So many worlds have to have 2 things that are at least somewhat synergistic, like mining and civilian industry, or where I have some mine districts and some urban or civilian industry, and also some of my pop growth. Instead of having worlds that just take it purely to pop growth with 2 urban expansions and tons of housing and just, I don't know, lots of civilians, I guess. Maybe a trade. Yeah, lots. Then the urban expansions get trade buildings, I guess, or something. I don't know. I have to think about it exactly how. To have one world that just does a lot of my pop growth for me. It holds a lot of pops, actually, because you still, unless you turn up the logistic growth ceiling. Which I did my multiplayer game, partly, so that I can experiment with having a few worlds that provide most of my pop growth. And not have the strange effect that if you have a massive amount of people and a massive amount of free housing, somehow people won't have more kids than, you know, a moderate amount of people, a moderate amount of free housing. It doesn't make sense. Assuming that most contagious diseases at least have been properly contained in the future here. Alright, enough of Robo Sapiens. Birth of a Star. But yeah, agriculture district, I need the farmers. The colonists will be reassigned as farmers, at least some of them. Then a monument to just buff the provide a little passive uni, eventually buff politician jobs, and then start building up a bunch of heavy industry and bits. And this is going to be farming heavy industry because I'm going to do catalytic technicians eventually. I'll probably start, probably do imperial coal, then catalytic technicians for a while. And then when I actually start to get to a place where I can either use or trade all the food just for pops, using internally or trading to other empires whose populations have grown a lot by that point and actually need the food, then maybe I'll swap to agrarian idle and make alloys out of minerals again, or maybe I'll swap out of Genesis guides at that point because there are now places to do it. Except habitats, the ring worlds I build, and yeah, have agrarian idle and catalytic technicians. I don't know, there's different ways I could do things. Maybe get rid of genetic identification. Probably should have started right off with, I think I mentioned Imperial Coal. It's so good. Start with early game, and it's terrible real late game, but it's really good at the beginning of the game where that edict capacity goes really far and can only run like 4 or 5 edicts at the very start. Let's see. I definitely need a generator district here. My energy situation is almost catastrophic. Almost, maybe I should have kept the reactor district. Or just because there were too few other places I could fit in technicians. But yeah, I want to do a Genesis preserve. Probably soon after getting my 3rd civic slot. This is about to give me the ability to uplift pre-sapiens. Oh yeah, I was also looking, before this video, before any of it, stuff that I was discussing the Stellaris multiplayer series they started, which hopefully, I mean, I'll be continuing, and by the time this is posted, that's either been going for a long time or fell off a cliff, with Joe, but it has to be balanced with Age of Wonders 1. It's probably a much more casual, I'm doing a Molebots run, which, I mean, powerful, although I realized actually some of the advanced authorities, if you start biological and synthetic, are incredibly powerful. Still not as good, though, in terms of actually winning the game. It might be better, in terms of, you know, you're being like a builder, maybe you just want to see how tall you can go. You can actually go taller with, like, the Megacore advanced authorities for synthetic, which are incredible. Where per 100 civilians, you get just more and more modifiers to consumer goods and alloys production, and if you do xenophile, so you can get pop upkeep down to 10%, almost like you have permanent employment zombies, but without having to actually have them, and they can only beat workers anyways. And they have a debuff to production. You can have all your pops 10% upkeep, and have that, and you can just have tons of civilians, especially if you change the pop growth stuff on like a couple city planets that do manufacturing. It can be very, very powerful. But in terms of actually winning, individualist machine starts are much better because they can have so much pop growth from the start of the game. They can just eat their neighbors, so it's going to be a more relaxed game is the point. But yeah, I'd been discussing, he'd done a multiplayer game with some other people before. He had conquered a hive mind. He just exterminated the pops. I'm like, what the hell? Why'd you do that? There's got to be something you do. He said, oh, you can only use the pops as workers if you have a slave processing. So I'm like, what? So what the wiki? Because, I'm next to a hive. What can I do? That's not act. There's 3 different policies. Protect, or 3 different citizenships if you choose the policy. Let me explain this briefly. I'll probably get going. Disconnected drones policy is, where is it? Sustain or exterminate. If you do sustain, you have 3 possible citizenships for the hive-minded pops. It goes through the citizenship system around another policy. You can either choose exploit, preserve, or like synergistic. Synergistic is for egalitarians only, and it lets the drones work worker jobs, but very inefficiently. It only I think it's like half job efficiency or something, with a 30% reduction in amenities and housing use, I think. So they're really inferior workers. Or you can do, if you're not egalitarian, or you're egalitarian but you're also xenophobe, you can do exploit, which is where if you have a slave processing facility, you can make the hive mind pops, which again are not sentient, so it's not really slavery in the normal way. They're like part of an insect hive mind, basically, or something. So I don't have the qualms with doing that to a non-sentient creature exactly, but maybe they have the glimmer of sentient, so I don't know. It's still a little morally questionable. Hence the ethics, because maybe they have more sentience than you think. But, it's like, is having horses slavery? No, not because they're not sentient. Something has to be sentient to be capable of being oppressed that way. It has to be self-aware. So these insect creatures that are not. But anyways, what are the actual pop traits of the Kelsodians? Hive-minded, strong, enduring. Enduring is useless either for any of this stuff I was talking about, or for them. Well, no, actually, their nodes, their counselors are immortal, but they do have scientists and such who can die. Resilient, which mainly makes their defense armies better. I think soldier jobs, they might be disqualified from that, and solitary. But yeah, they're strong at least. Exploit, though, with the slave processing facility, and the hive-minded pops can be turned and used work job facility at minus 10% to job efficiency, and I think it's still like half usage of minis and housing, so less than the synergistic drones. And then there's protect, where you can put them in an alien zoo. They can do actually the same jobs, I'm pretty sure. The pre-sapients, the conserved fauna here, are working stage. They eat some food, they produce some amenities. So it's pretty neutral. But if you don't have pops to work civilians, it can help. I think that they produce more amenities, way more than they consume. I don't know if they actually consume any in that job. So, some surplus amenities for your other pops. Contribute to your empire. You still have to feed them, but honestly, adding more farmers shouldn't be that big a deal. Just conquer a bunch of planets. And then eventually, if you go biological ascension, which he did in that run, though he went cloning, which doesn't have, if you go mutation, you can give sentience to the hive-minded pops, and then you can use them as normal workers without a debuff to job efficiency, and even make them leaders and specialists and such. So I'll probably, I'll start by probably sticking Kelsodians in a zoo, and then have them do work jobs to reduce efficiency if I don't find the biomorphogenesis thing goes fast enough, right? It's gonna be too much society to de-assimilate them to give them sapience. Then maybe I'll do the exploited drones for a while, but then eventually I'm gonna give them sapience and have another species of empire with a homeworld. And then I can still do the Genesis Guides thing and have 2 species to call their capital home, which is nice. With mutagenesis, with the mutation ascension subpath of biological, you can benefit from up to 200% habitability in the world. Pops in their homeworld, but it's not locked 100% habitability like some morons think because they don't read. It's plus 30% habitability, which usually means they're 100% and it's normally capped. But when it's now capped at 200% habitability, that can be valuable for getting up, you know. If Pop has the right climate preference, they're at 80, then 30, 110, and then you still have to get 90 more from traits, techs, and buildings to get to max habitability, and it adds job efficiency, so it's a huge multiplier to job outputs, including, I think, civilians. I hope so, because otherwise I might actually be better off with the cloning. If I'm going to have enough civilians, I might actually be better with the cloning path, since the corporate cloning advancement authority is pretty good. The tiebreaker is, I'm assuming the job efficiency applies to civilians. If it doesn't, well, of course, none of this is nearly as strong as going synthetic and the synthetic advanced authorities. But I've not tried the genetic ascension. I'll probably do it. And the fact that there's a hive right next to me makes a world of difference. I'm not sure I can assimilate their pops into synthetic if I went that route, but this will definitely let me to have, you know, new empire. And for terms of momentum, if not final strength, the fact that I'm just going very heavy on society research, it just works. With the xenobiology labs everywhere. Alright, so I got a fleet on its way to Higma. Then I actually have to go to the Central Star. I just really need to know how long until they can get into the system. 860 days. Okay. Just so I have a more accurate estimate. So, tweaking that. Probably rebase the other fleet and send to Tsujima eventually. Expand it there while Synth continues to expand the reserve fleets. At some point, not too long, far in the future. I may, when this becomes a Starhold, Tsujima might get a crew quarters. Since, I don't have any other good things for a second building. I mean, I could do the Interstellar recruitment office, but I could also do it here or something. And more likely, somewhere like here, where I'll hold on to it. Not spin it off. Since, this isn't great. The vassals, I'm sure, won't know how to use that well. Of course, maybe with Prospectorium they might be able to use this. Maybe I'll put it here. They'll inherit it and they can build another one out here. It's probably actually a smarter path. But yeah, so probably build once I have a Starhold in Tsujima headquarters there. It'd be a good forward base for my fleets. Decent chance of being the council here to the final thing. I'll probably send the fleet out before I actually do the 5-month mean time happen, so they'll be like Medgar or in Ruthari by the time there's a chance that fleet spawning. Final cultist fleet, which has a really cool specimen that gives plus 25% governing ethics attraction. Let's see. So I'm gonna definitely need a generator district. I may want to do research on the capital because I don't really get many things that buff researcher output. Researchers. don't have as much upkeep as I mean, instead it's 2 consumer goods basically instead of 6 minerals, right? Well, that might be wrong. That might be quite wrong. Yeah, it looks like base 2.4, that's for 160 pops. Yeah, it's definitely a base, or maybe this is per 100 pops. Base 9.6. Yeah, that might be the case. Still, the upkeep of researchers is less expensive than the upkeep of artisans. And so it might do a factory world. Sure, I do have the debuffed output. No. Does this require a huge type change of this? I probably should do light industry here, but this is definitely going to become a research enclave eventually. Xenobiology lab and the engineering and physics equivalent. We'll have to do a monument there. Or there's one district type that you can do. It still allows almost anything, and that's an urban expansion. I could turn this to an urban expansion and mix in industry and research. Wait, industry and research. That wouldn't require me to retype all these alloys into civilian industry, which is only a minor improvement. Some increased emphasis on research in the capital while still doing some local civilian and a lot more housing. That could be useful. Can I do like xenobiology labs in urban expansion? Yes, I can. It's extremely flexible. Alright. So I could actually replace the archives with an urban expansion. Too. But yeah, no. I want to mix in more research. Yeah, the thing is, I gotta remember planetary ascensions, because if I just cram this world full of light industry, or, well, heavy industry actually, more likely, and go forge world, I could get this upkeep way, way down. That would probably... I don't know. I'm gonna definitely have to retype some of these specializations eventually. That much is clear. Alright, I probably bored you guys to death, so. Alright, that'll put me to sleep. Almost all like fall asleep right in the keyboard here, so. No spatial alibi. No thank you. It's too soothing. Let's see. Surveying out this way. Boom. It's gonna survey a few of the worlds. Go that way. Yeah, my energy situation is critical, though. Oh yeah, By the way, the teachings of warriors gives a modifier I can choose. By research, anyways, can give naval capacity and reduced army upkeep. So looking at that, so it's a edict, so it costs you any upkeep. It's pretty marginal unless I have a ton of naval capacity and armies. But in many ways, the best that the teachings of, you can only get one of them events. Pretty sure you can only get one. This is probably actually the best to actually not sell the collectors and get a bunch of energy. But I'm not sure. I probably guess a successor empire, especially a machine one that rebels, probably doesn't get the ability to run that policy. But I could do it and find out. Yeah, an interesting find. I remember I checked because I was pretty sure I wanted to know what this was for, and I wanted to figure out which of these toasts I could read to you guys without boring you to death at taking too long. This one. This is the ultimate weapon. It seems the people... Remember there was like a secret weapon in their warning, do not go finding it? And the silent monolith refers to that specimen. It seems the people of the planet were experimenting only with what we could consider to be fairly basic weapons technologies. The havoc they wrought is more a testament to their incredible genocidal tenacity than it is the power of their weaponry. Basic, but useful.
Knowledge is the key to the universe.
It's literally just coil guns, slightly more powerful mass drivers. Coil guns are more powerful versions of the early mass drivers, using electromagnetic coils to rapidly accelerate projectiles towards targets. That's what they wipe themselves out with. Advanced rail guns, basically. That's... Wow. That would be the kind of empire that would have become a fanatic purifier or something if it had survived to... What the hell? You can get one where it's like nanites, which, okay, that, you know, gray goo, that's a feasible end to our own world.
System survey concluded.
At least if nanobots are actually ever capable of doing the things in science fiction, which they're probably not, so, okay, maybe not really a feasible end. But at least it sounds legitimately threatening. Even if it's based on things that couldn't actually happen. Ernst Klein, I am trying to level up. Looks like most of these have already been surveyed, so I might not, probably won't find anything. Trying to think if there's somewhere my head of research should be going instead of... I don't think so, actually. Why the heck do I have this guy doing surveys? Well, probably because... there's probably an empire here and I want to... But do I want to meet it too quickly? Probably not. There's a decent chance anomalies here, though. Yeah, benefits will end up some empires. I'll leave this alone, especially because the way anomaly discovery works is each time you don't find an anomaly, it adds to the anomaly discovery chance. And James Cook already has an enhanced one, so Meticulous doesn't add that much because that thing won't get the chance to build up as much. Like, it's already not going to be that many anomalies between what you know. Does that make sense? Wouldn't you want, if it's already going to be fairly frequent? Want that to build up a ton, wouldn't you? I don't know. Whatever, there's rapid surveying them, I'm not going to bother rotating scientists right now. Although I always wonder if I should be. I should probably be more worried about my energy situation. I don't remember what this special project is. I guess I'll have to find out soon. Well, recovery efforts completed. That's the cultist thing. Teachings of warriors. Break damage report, which will probably add a bloody blocker. Could add mining districts. Neither is useful right now. And the blocker will always slow pop growth. it'll make the from low pops thing worse. There's less excess capacity. So, yeah, I'll delay that as long as possible because right now I need to be building generators, not clearing blockers. To finish a farming district on Vitsen. Probably actually want a food processing facility or something even before I do the monument. Let's see. No, actually it doesn't have enough food. However, yeah, start an agricultural specialization and then a automation building. No, the monument's better than that. 4.65 passive uni. Yeah, that's pretty good. That's like 9. A little more than 9 value. It's 9.3. You consider uni to be worth 2. Okay. That's good. Alright, can prioritize one job at each tier. So, farmers. Or pops into the worker strata, they work as farmers until there's no more, and then colonists, because that's, yeah, that's not even gonna make a difference in build speed. Between that and the 4 hydroponics modules I have, which each had 12 or 13, yeah, 12. 48 plus that. I'll be in food surplus, and that'll be good. Because this, so probably let me trade with the Jackley Jenners out here, since it doesn't seem to matter for diplomatic trades. As a fallen empire, they'll probably xenophile fallen empires will usually take food and consumer goods from you and give you energy at reasonable prices. Not amazing prices always. I think they'll take strategic resources and really good prices, but I don't have those. Yeah, and so, but they have a very high saturation point. They take a lot of food and consumer goods before they stop taking more. And before they fill their capacity, they seem to be able to absorb a lot at least. Maybe they just have massive storage, I don't know. But it's a way to ensure I don't go bankrupt by trading away some excess food and consumer goods. Which, consumer goods is a particularly lucrative trade. Even here, you can see where I've got some debuffs to production. Got 11 pops working. I'm still producing more than 6 consumer goods, and that's with a job efficiency debuff and low motivation and militarized economy all hurting production. I move this stuff to the capital even be more lucrative. Which is probably why I need to do it. Jackways won't rail on my allies. And I need to balance my budget. So, anyways, the consumer goods. Yeah, I can produce well over 13 value in artisan. In fact, the next stage in the... Well, yeah, this is about to trigger, and I'll be able to get a modifier that adds to resource output in the capital. So probably like 14, 15 value per specialist with the input of, well, 6 minerals, which is like 9 energy. 9 in 15. No. Actually, that's less profitable than just running technicians. Never mind. But it's still a way to not go bankrupt. I really need energy. Better off just making way for technicians, though. Ramp whatever labor I can for them. I could send some of these robot civilians from Anchor to actually work real jobs as technicians on It's in Secondus, or is farmers on a synth. At least do 1 food for 1 energy. I say a synth. If it's in prime. Yeah, let's do that. As valuable as, let's see, 28 pops are producing 1.1, 1.5. Two. 3 value? Like 12 per pop. Versus 10. Oh my. Never mind that. Robot civilians are more productive on anchor. Part of that is in Unity and such. So maybe I have to balance my budget. Send to Bitson. Well, that outputs Unity and minis, which are already, I no longer have a mini shortage. So maybe not that great. Most of many unis, but just a little trade. I don't think they even provide 1 edict capacity. Shoot. Right, let's save in case I'm drastically wrong here, but I think... Jeez, this video, I'm sorry, I've not been doing that well. Suspect this will reduce growth, negative the growth debuff from what pops. It's at minus 0.73. Pretty sure they're contributing pops here, so 2.85 here is the current. Oh, wrong world. Shit. I did save it. Minus 0.74 from pops. You can also compare to see if that did anything, since that world is also underpopulated. I don't know if robots contribute to growth indirectly. I'm about to find out. Nope. Doesn't look like they did, actually. Probably Anchor wasn't hurt by that then. No, at least. Energy. I don't invest something in that now. Alright. It's in prime, not... We have 80% habitability, unfortunately. There's an anchor. Can't remember about criminals, but it should be. Let's see. Assuming it'd be 40, 40, 10. That'd be 95. So it doesn't affect pop growth, right? No. Oh, pop growth actually went up. I guess the robots are getting in the way here. I mean, I guess they don't contribute to logistic growth, but they do take up logistic growth space. That's good to know. But yeah, the point of this is to have enough farmers and bits in prime that. Oh yeah, it also reduces the deficit here. So we shouldn't, we're indirectly producing a little trade, but like, I'm trying to get into the black of food so I can trade food to the Jackway Pretenders, which fortunately they like to ask for pops from me, so I'll probably lose. And I did check. I'll just want to see where they came from. Actually, I'll admit that I knew that's there and grab pops, but it was gonna be that or asking for scientists almost certainly. Or is that the materials? I was trying to figure out which of these events would be interesting to do for you guys, because this is fundamentally me trying to survive, get my channel to be big enough to monetize. But anyways, it comes from a synth because I'm assuming it prioritizes civilians as the surplus pops. So it's going to be some of these pops. Hopefully it's the pacifists, not the spirituals.